everyone. This is Jackman from ACG, and I'm going to do a quick video on the setup of Tank Crew. This video will be for people that will predominantly be set up for flying aircraft, using your joystick, your rudder pedals and your throttle. So I'm going to start by going to settings, key mapping, tank control. So first at the top, vehicle acceleration and brake. So I have my throttle set for that. So throttle fully forward is forward, throttle back is reverse, and then throttle in the middle or set in the center is stopped or brake. So that's pretty straightforward. Next straightforward thing is your turning left and turning right. I have rudder pedals, so I have my left and right rudder pedal turning my tank left and right. If you don't have rudder pedals, you can still use your throttle, or your, sorry, not your throttle, but your joystick twist, which most joysticks have to turn left and right. Next important thing is open and close your hatch, especially for the commander. This would be the same for closing and opening your canopy, so have a button set for that. Visor open and closed, again it's an important one. If you're under sustained attack and you have your commander in and you're trying to escape to a forest, it's best to keep that closed. Driver is, with the visors opened, your driver is a little bit exposed and can take a round, and once your driver or any part of your crew is dead, your tank is pretty useless. So when you're under sustained attack, visors should be closed. So have a button set for that. Next thing is your turret control and your main gun control. So turret control horizontal. Again, I have my joystick set up for that. And turret vertical control, so your gun, you can elevate your gun. Again, my joystick is set up for that. Changing fire positions. You can cycle through them, but I think it's quicker just to have their own individual buttons. So the first one is your gunner position. That's at my thumb on my joystick, on my throttle. That's the very easy button for me to push. I don't have to reach for it or anything like that. Second firing position will be your commander's position, and your third firing position is your driver's position. So you need, it's good to have them on some kind of a hat switch where you can change position pretty easily, because driving a tank you will be changing these positions. The firing position, obviously you need to lean in and aim and shoot at targets at your gunner position. That's obvious. Your commander position is your eyes and ears of the tank. You're pretty blind without the commander being able to sit up on top of the tank and view the surrounding area with the binoculars and that. So that's obvious as well. And third position would be the driver. The reason I would have consider driver important is, again, if you come under attack by enemy aircraft and you're trying to get into a forest and try and negotiate trees and stuff, it's probably the best position and the best view you have when you're getting through them areas. So that's pretty self-explanatory as well. So those three positions, very important. When I do a bit in the game, I'll show you what I mean by them. Nestled to gun sight is the next important one. When you get into your firing position, your nestled gun sight is where you want to hit next. So you're basically looking down the scope of the aiming system for the tank. Fire primary weapon, so that's your main gun. That's your first trigger number one. And secondary is your machine gun. That's trigger number two on my joystick. Should be the same for yourselves. Select ammunition. I have that because I generally bring two sets of ammunition with me, AP rounds and HE rounds. So you need to have a button set to change ammunition. Some guys use it. I don't. I kind of just do best guess work. I'm pretty okay at it. Maybe it might take me an extra round to get around on target, but generally I'm not too bad at it. But some guys use these gun sight range adjustments and are very, very accurate, especially at very long ranges. For them to be accurate, you would need a commander as well, in a second person in the tank in a commander position to be able to see the shots falling long or short or whatever. But yeah, I think if you get very good at it and you want to get a little bit more immersed into it, definitely set these up. And but like I said, if you're with a commander, if you have a commander and your team playing in a tank, yeah, definitely the way to go. Nestle to visor, I actually don't use that button or this setting because I found that when you zoom in fully, it's the same thing. So you use your zoom button the same way. That's everything in the tank setup or tank controls. That's everything that you kind of need. Binoculars would be the obvious one that you will need then as well. So I have go to weapons controls. And you have binoculars. So set your button up for binoculars. When you hit that button, the binoculars takes a couple of seconds to come up to your face. So you will, you know, some people I've seen the past few days now that if they hit the binocular button and they're pressing the button again, it mightn't work straight away, but it takes a second or two for the commander to bring his binoculars to bear. Remove personal weapon and flare pistol. There's the button you need to press to remove the binoculars from your face. So they're the two kind of buttons you have to have beside each other. Remove the binoculars and bring up your binoculars. Okay. So that's the settings I have set up for the tank. What we'll do now is we'll go in game and I'll just give you a quick okay, we are here on the Finnish server, and I would like to congratulate the Finnish server guys for producing some excellent maps to fight on, and they do very good dynamic campaigns. They have a website also where you can see your stats and statistics and that, so well done to them guys. You can tell the server is always full and in the evening times, very popular, and it gives people an opportunity to drive tanks as well as aircraft and that, so it's a good dynamic campaign to do run. So congratulations guys on that. So we are going to select a spawn point for our tanks. I suppose the first thing you do before you spawn in and look for a tank is see where the action is happening first. Remember, the distances between areas in an aircraft is only seconds. The distances for the same in a tank could be an hour's driving. So you need to keep that in mind when you're picking a spawn point for a tank, because driving a small distance is time consuming. So I'm going to have a quick look here. So in this northern section here. Okay, it looks interesting. It's leading up into a town. There's probably enemy or Soviet tanks looking to protect this area. There's a road which is handy. So I'm going to spawn in here. And the reason why I said a road, sometimes you might jump on and you'll see a spawn point that will be in the middle of nowhere, you know, between a forest and that. It could take you nearly an hour to get get to a road or get to anywhere where there's action. Um, Plus, there's this desperate bug in the forests with these invisible tree stumps that you hit, or invisible brick walls that you hit, and it nearly always damages your tank, or if your commander is out out of the top of the turret, will get wounded, or some of your crew members might get wounded before you even get near any action. So it's you know, avoid the woods unless you really have to. The woods are great for cover from enemy aircraft. They're great for setting up ambushes on enemy tanks. But if you want to get from A to B and you decide the shortest way is through a large forest, just keep it in mind that it could be the longest way by the time you hit 2 or 3 invisible stumps, and you have to stop and repair your tank every so often. So just keep that in mind when you're looking to spawn in as well. Also, on that subject of damaging your tank can self-repair at certain points if your crew is fully healthy and all that. All you need to do is find a safe spot and shut your tank down, and just have your commander out, and the tank will start repairing itself. If you've sustained heavy damage to your track and stuff like that, it could take anywhere from 10 minutes to repair your tank, but it adds to the bit of immersion to try and keep your tank going as long as possible, and not just spawn out and grab another tank. And sometimes you're 20 minutes or 30 minutes away from a fight as well, so you know you don't want to be spawning back in and have to time of driving to the action area again, and you know the people that you're fighting with become isolated and on their own, and they eventually get overwhelmed. So if you're with 2 or 3 other people, you know, look after your tanks. If you get damaged, tell your comrades, and try and find a safe area, get your tanks repaired, and then head back into action. Just something to keep in mind. So going to pick Panzer 4 here probably, so going to scroll in a bit. Going to pick the one closest to the road, of course. Going to pick a Panzer 4 and go to setup. Okay, what a lot of people do, it's down to taste and whatever, but a lot of guys like to drive their tanks without the side skirts. They're a bit quicker and a bit more maneuverable. I like the side skirts because I think you will be able to take that one round more, and it'll give you an opportunity to return fire and possibly kill that enemy before he gets another shot in you. With this, if you're hit sideways on this at all, you're basically mortally damaged. Frontal, yeah, you may take a shot or two, but I just like the side skirts. It just gives you that little bit of protection, but it's down to your own preference. And plus, I think the side skirts make the tank really cool looking as well, so that's why I bring them. Also, just another thing, this camouflage in winter weather, in snowy weather, sticks out like a sore thumb, so just always look out that door to make sure what season we're in. If that's white and snowy, we're in winter season in the map, so just make sure you pick your white camouflage for your tank. If you're in summer, then you can go back to your default or your Panzer regiment. or whatever colour, but yeah, just keep that in mind. So in the ammunition setup and that, or weapon setup, what I usually do is go with armor piercing. If I've no obvious threats by enemy tanks and that, and we want to go and destroy enemy emplacements, I'll bring some high explosives. But I'd only bring a few. I always try and keep as much APs as possible. So I'll go for that setup, and then of course the side skirts. And there you go. That's a nicer looking tank, I think. And I think you have at least, you may not, but sometimes you have that, at least that second shot of returning fire on an enemy before you destroy yourself. So that's the tank setup. I'm going to accept, and I'm going to spawn in, and I'll just go through the positions for Eden. Okay, when you spawn into the tank, you spawn into the driver's position first. Like I said, get a driver's position is really only used when you're under attack and you need to get in through a forest to hide. You have a good view out that you're not running into trees and damaging your tank even worse. So yeah, it's the only reason you'll be in here is if you're running from an enemy and you need to get into a forest, and to avoid hitting the trees and stuff, you'll be able to see where you're going. So from here we're going to go to the gunner's position. So when you switch to the gunner's position, it's you need to hit the lean to gun sight. Then you need to hit T to activate the gun, so you will have control. So I have control of the tank. And you're going down to the horizon. And I'm ready to go. On the bottom left corner there, you'll see a compass with degrees of what the tank is pointing in, and below the degrees of what the tank's pointing in, there's also another compass for what the gun is pointing at. That is very handy for if you're with other people and you want to give a direction of where the enemy tanks are. You see there where I move the turret, the degrees changes. So keep that in mind. Okay, now we'll move to the commander's position. Okay, commander's position is here, so you want to go out through the top hatch, open canopy, or open hatch, and you have 365 degrees of view. You can zoom in if you don't need to use the binoculars, just to keep a good view ahead, and of course, as I said, the binoculars. And you get a more detailed picture with a longer distance. Again, very important if you see any enemy aircraft coming towards you or anything like that, that you get your commander back in as quick as possible. Your commander is your eyes and ears of the tank. If he gets hit or killed, you're pretty useless without him. So remember to always have that button for open and close the hatch, get your commander in if you come under attack as quick as possible. Then you jump to the gun position, and hopefully you have an idea of where the enemy is. Shoot your main gun. And it takes a few seconds for it to reload again. that's it. That's basics of the tank. Driving it, as I say, is you use your rudder pedals to drive the tank left and right, and your throttle to go forward and reverse and neutral. It's pretty straightforward, easy to use. Yeah, that's it. Is there anything else I need to tell you? There is one thing that people do find when they do the setup, actually, and I should have did this at the beginning of the video. It's make sure, I think I have it here. Yes, input devices. Make sure your tank turret control is set to joystick. Make sure that that's set up if you're using the joystick, or else your turret won't work to it. That's it. That's all I can say on this. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully it's helpful to guys that's newer to the tank crew. So see you around and enjoy it.